Moses and the Burning Bush. Introduction. The story of Moses and the burning bush is one of the most iconic narratives in the Bible. Found in Exodus 3:1-22, it marks a pivotal moment in biblical history when God calls Moses to lead the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt. This miraculous event not only signifies divine intervention but also sets the stage for the Exodus, a defining moment for the people of Israel. Moses' background. Moses was born at a time when the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt. Fearing that the growing Hebrew population might become a threat, Pharaoh ordered that all male Hebrew infants be killed. To save her child, Moses' mother placed him in a basket and set him afloat on the Nile River. He was found and adopted by Pharaoh's daughter, growing up in the Egyptian royal court. However, despite his privileged upbringing, Moses never forgot his Hebrew heritage. As a young man, Moses witnessed the oppression of his people. One day, he saw an Egyptian taskmaster beating a Hebrew slave and, in a moment of anger, killed the Egyptian. Realizing his actions were known, Moses fled to Midian, a desert region far from Egypt. There, he married Zipporah, the daughter of a Midianite priest named Jethro, also called Reuel, and became a shepherd, living a quiet life for many years. The encounter with the burning bush. One day, as Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law near Mount Horeb, also called Mount Sinai, he saw an astonishing sight, a bush that was on fire but not being consumed. Intrigued, he approached to investigate. Suddenly, he heard a voice calling his name from the bush. "Moses, Moses!" Moses responded, "Here I am." God then instructed him, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." God identified himself as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, making it clear that this was a divine encounter. Moses, overwhelmed with fear and reverence, hid his face. God's call and Moses' doubts. God revealed his plan to Moses to deliver the Israelites from slavery and lead them to a land flowing with milk and honey. Exodus 3:8. He declared that Moses would be the one to confront Pharaoh and demand the release of the Israelites. However, Moses was hesitant and doubted his ability to fulfill this mission. He raised several objections. 1. Who am I to go to Pharaoh? Moses felt unworthy and incapable of such a task. God reassured him, saying, "I will be with you." 2. What if they ask for your name? Moses wanted to know how to identify God to the Israelites. God answered, "I am who I am, Yahweh," signifying his eternal and unchanging nature. 3. What if they do not believe me? God provided signs to convince the people, including turning Moses' staff into a serpent and making his hand leprous and then healed. 4. I am not eloquent. I am slow of speech. Moses feared he lacked the ability to speak effectively. God responded, "Who gave human beings their mouths? Now go, I will help you speak." Still hesitant, Moses pleaded, "Please send someone else." This angered God, but he graciously allowed Moses' brother, Aaron, to assist him in speaking. Theological and symbolic significance. The burning bush carries deep symbolic and theological meaning. 1. God's presence and holiness. The bush that burned but was not consumed represents God's eternal presence and power. Removing sandals symbolizes reverence in God's presence. 2. God's compassion and deliverance. God heard the cries of the Israelites and acted to deliver them. The promise of a land flowing with milk and honey reflects divine blessing and restoration. 3. Moses as a reluctant leader. Moses' doubts highlight human insecurity in the face of divine calling. God's patience shows that he equips those he calls. 4. The name I am, Yahweh. This reveals God's self-existence and sovereignty. It signifies that God is not limited by time or human understanding. Conclusion. The story of Moses and the burning bush is a powerful example of divine calling, human reluctance, and God's assurance. It teaches that God chooses unlikely individuals for great missions and equips them with what they need. Moses' journey from a fugitive shepherd to the leader of Israel reminds us that faith and obedience can lead to extraordinary outcomes. This event marks the beginning of one of the greatest deliverance stories in history, the Exodus, showing that God is always present, hearing the cries of His people, and acting to fulfill His promises.